A season of hard work, practice, and teamwork. It all comes down to this. These are the tournaments on 9. Now, Minnesota 9's Jim Gilliland.
It is the last Saturday in March, and it is the dream of every boy who's ever picked up a basketball and bounced it in the driveway to be in this spot at the St. Paul Civic Center, competing for this most historic of all the Minnesota Tournament Championship, the boys basketball title. We have 2 terrific games coming your way today, this afternoon, Class A, and tonight, Double A. Good afternoon, I'm Jim Gilliland, along with Janet Carvinen and Dick Bramer. First matchup, City and Country. You couldn't, well, I don't want to call Morris Country, but it is 150 miles away. People have to make that pilgrimage down to the city. St. Agnes, you know, a strong-arm quarterback could probably hit the high school from here. So it's quite a matchup. And Dick Morris, not too far from where you grew up. You can just see the whole town here and the atmosphere surrounding it. They're tremendously excited about getting this opportunity.
It's already been a great year for the Morris area schools, 29-0. They'll try to go 30-0 this afternoon. The one advantage that they have in this game this afternoon is height. Kevin Logie at 6'8". Now, he ran into a little bit of foul trouble in their quarterfinal game. It'll be interesting to see what they do to try to protect him, keep him out of foul trouble, because he, I think, is a key player for Morris. They need to have him in the lineup.
Janet, the St. Agnes club has been ranked atop Class A most of the year. They had some injury problems, but they look to be full strength now. They've been awfully impressive in their 2 wins.
They certainly have. They defeated, as you can see, Westbrook Walnut Grove. In the opening game, they defeated the defending state champion, Maple River. They've had a pretty easy time dealing with height earlier in the season. One of the things that I've been very impressed with is they've taken such good care of the basketball, about 10 turnovers a game. They play such good team defense, and they're very strong rebounders. So I don't know. I think St. Agnes has to be a favorite, but we'll see if Morris can keep that undefeated record.
We're looking forward to the call of the game. We're going to be covering every aspect of this championship, and to help us do so, meet one of the men who's going to keep you on top of things, Jeff Grayson.
All right, Gilly, thank you very much, and welcome everybody wherever you are to Championship Saturday. It's the Class A final. We're excited to bring it to you. We will have interviews with players and coaches throughout the day. You'll hear what the coaches' thoughts are at halftime as they're leaving the court. All that and more throughout an exciting day of basketball. And now we go to the man, well, who needs no introduction. I'm running out of him. Andy Skugman. Marvelous.
Jeffrey, it is the day we've all been waiting for. As you said, it is Championship Saturday, and not only are the coaches and players hoping to bring home a championship, so are their friends and their fans. They're all here this afternoon. I'll be here all afternoon long and bringing you the color and excitement. And as Gilly likes to call it, the pageantry of this tournament. For now, though, let's head on back to a man who can hopefully define the word pageantry for us, Jeff Grayson. JG?
All righty, Andy. Thank you very much. Tell your brothers to wear suits next time. They're going after the gold, the trophy for the Class A title. Introductions when we come back. St. Agnes against Morris area for the Class A title as the tournaments on 9 continue from the St. Paul Civic Center.
Roll the VCR at home. We're ready for the Class A championship. Let's meet the teams with public address announcer Dick Stanford.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the championship game of the 1994 Minnesota High School Boys Basketball Tournament. Our championship game matches the champions of Section 6A with a record of 29-0, the Tigers from Morris area. And the champions from Section 4A with a record of 24-5, the Aggies from St. Agnes. Let's begin by meeting the cheerleaders from each school. First, for Morris area, meet Julie Hauschild, Carrie Stoik, Mary Wersinger, Kelly Anderson, Stacy Ritzky, Jenny Baressa, and mascot Patricia O'Reilly. And now let's meet the St. Agnes cheerleaders. Colleen Brennan, Erin Cochran, Lila Norberg, and Nung Pham, and mascot Ryan Walsh. And now the reserves for each school. First for Morris area. 5'7" senior guard, number 4, Mark Dolan. 5'10" sophomore guard, number 10, Andy Tate. 6'2" senior forward, number 22, Lance Stoik. 5'9" junior guard, number 30, Ryan Nelson. 6'2" junior forward, number 32, John Hebner. 6'3" senior forward, number 42, John Anderson. And 6'8" junior center, number 50, Jeff Boots. And now let's meet the St. Agnes reserves. First, 6'3" junior forward, number 23, Mike Forden. 5'10" sophomore guard, number 31, Dave Laval. 6'3" senior forward, number 35, Craig Vaughn. 6' senior forward, number 43, Aaron Holman. 6'3" senior center, number 51, Steve Kubista. 6'3" senior forward, number 55, Char Davis. And now, here are your starting lineups. At forward for Morris, 6'2" sophomore, number 34, Corey Schmidgall. At forward for St. Agnes, 6'3" senior, number 25, Marlon McCoy. For the Tigers at forward, 6'3" junior, number 40, Jason Agnes. At forward for the Aggies, 6'2" junior, number 45, Kamani Lloyd. At center for Morris area, 6'8" sophomore, number 44, Kevin Logie. At center for St. Agnes, 6'4" senior, number 41, Jamae Phipps. At guard for the Tigers, 6'1" junior, number 14, Zach Whitt. At guard for the Aggies, 5'11" junior, number 13, Juan Taylor. At guard for Morris area, 5'10" senior, number 20, Jeff Fine. At guard for St. Agnes, 6'1" senior, number 15, Lester Jackson. Morris head coach is Mark Torgerson, and his assistant is Jerry Witt. The head coach of the Aggies is Dick Gazzoni, and his assistant is George Quinn. Your officials for the championship game are Mike Cannon and Steve Winfield. And now to welcome you on behalf of the players and to present the sportsmanship code from Morris, John Anderson, and from St. Agnes, Steve Kubista.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Minnesota State High School League State Basketball Tournament. We appreciate your attendance at this tournament and hope you enjoy it.
The state basketball tournament is being played under the rules of the Minnesota State High School League. These rules provide for fair play and good sportsmanship among players and coaches. As athletes, we ask that spectators promote the ideals of good sportsmanship, fair play, and respect for our opponents and the calls of the officials.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please rise and honor America as the vocal jazz group from Hastings High School, directed by Lynn Luderman, leads us in the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say
Way to prepare for the Class A championship. We'll take a look at the starting lineups once again. The height advantage on the left side of the lineup, and the quickness and speed advantage goes to the right side.
I think an awful lot depends on how Mr. Witt handles the pressure. He's got to keep the turnovers low for Morris. There he is on the right side of your screen. And we featured Lester Jackson twice. He's been our player of the game. He's just the guy who seems to do whatever it takes for St. Agnes to fill in the spaces.
Of the hundreds of young people across the state of Minnesota involved in high school basketball, only 51 players have their championship hopes still alive. And we're deciding the Class A championship this afternoon. St. Agnes with the basketball. Kamani Lloyd. And St. Agnes takes a 2-point lead. This is Zach Witt. Done a great job scoring in double figures in each of the 2 championship games for Morris. Logie playing outside. Klein finds Schmidtgall. Logie turns. Off the glass, no good. Rebounded by Lloyd. The Aggies will run when given the opportunity. Inside, another bucket. They found Lester Jackson.
Well, if the defense was what was impressive about St. Agnes earlier, if they can force Logie out that far, it won't matter how much height advantage he has. Well, about to take that back. Throws in the jumper. We haven't seen that from him yet.
And we haven't. Jemai Phipps is the person guarding him.
A 4-2 ball game. Aggies in front. They post up Jackson. He scores again. Lester Jackson with 34 points in the 2 games so far and 4 early points here. On the hand of Agnes. 3-point try. Klein misses. And the Aggies will get the basketball.
Interesting strategy. Both Jackson and Witt are matched up with each other, and they're both trying to post the other guy up. Witt's used to doing that. He's strong, And going down low against a lesser opponent, will it be able to do it against Lester, the opponent? I don't know.
McCoy misses a three. The rebound goes out of bounds. 6:11 left in the first quarter. The Tigers will face some full court pressure, but very loose pressure at that.
They do keep it on, Dick, the entire game, though. And I think it does wear on opponents as the game progresses.
Inside they go to Logie, and a foul from behind. First foul of the game goes to Jamae Phipps.
Jamae Phipps has been playing with some chipped bones in his ankle.
Yeah, 3 different bones are chipped. He's been playing in a great deal of pain, but says come state championship time, you can ignore the pain. A miss by Witt. Follow is good. Schmidgall with the bucket.
And Logie didn't get the ball that time, but he kept it alive and tipped it over where Schmidgall could grab it.
Phipps missing. Witt tried to save it, but had a foot on the baseline, and the Aggies will get it back.
I want to welcome those who are watching on KAL TV in Austin, Minnesota. They've been with us throughout the tournament, and we hope they enjoy Championship Saturday. It should be a lot of fun.
Bounded to Jackson, spinning in the lane. Blocked by Logie. His 9th block in the tournament. Schmidgall.
Reverse layup by Schmidgall. He's a sophomore, and I think he's going to be a key player today, too, on the inside and on the boards.
Kamani Lloyd misses a three-pointer. Schmidgall knocks the rebound in Logie's direction. Witt can't get it to fall. Tried to follow it up. Logie right there. And the Tigers have their first lead.
Impressive team rebounding here. They're keeping the ball alive. They can't always get it cleanly from these great leapers of St. Agnes, but they've been able to tip it into teammates' hands in the early going here.
A 6-0 run. Taylor misses from three-point range. Rebounded by Klein. 4:25 left in the first quarter. Logie eventually gets the pass. Off the glass for two. A blocking foul. Called on Kamani Lloyd. A big call in the lane midway through this first quarter.
You said, Dick, it's important to keep Logie out of foul trouble. This is probably one that could have gone either way, but Lloyd was coming over as Logie was moving in. Very difficult call. Steve Winfield ruled in favor of Logie. And he'll go to the foul line.
It means so much to Morris, though, to get Logie off to a good start. Because once he gets started, is such a nice shooter.
Misses the free throw. An 8-point run for Morris. Now the ball slapped away by Witt. It goes out of bounds. The Aggies will keep it. And we'll take a timeout midway through the first quarter. The Aggies started out hot, but now the Tigers lead by 4 on the Farm Bureau scoreboard.
Has purchased the broadcast rights to the 1994 Minnesota State High School boys basketball tournament. No broadcast, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and account of this copyrighted telecast is permitted without the written authority of KMSP Television and the Minnesota State High School League.
Three-point miss by McCoy, and the rebound eventually controlled by Zach Witt. Schmidgall hands it off. Back to Witt. Witt has yet to score. Working on getting the ball down low to Logie, and they've gotten 6 out of their 10 points from him. Schmidgall scored the other 4 from the free throw line. Logie missed, tipped up off the glass, no good. Finally rebounded by Shar Davis into the ball game for the Aggies.
Shar Davis, number 55, gives them so much off the bench. He would probably start for most other teams, especially effective on the rebounding offensively.
Provided 11 points off the bench in the quarterfinal game, just 3 points in the semifinal game for the Aggies. Traveling call. Jamae Phipps turns it over. so good for the Tigers. The Aggies have not found Logie and have not attacked him, trying to get him into foul trouble. But now the pressure pays off. The Tigers turn it over.
I think Andy Tate is going to be key for Morris. Witt is going to need help before this is over, handling the ball, taking some of the pressure off. Tate looks to be their second best ball handler, and he made that errant pass there. Going to need him to contribute.
Boy, driving into the lane. Oh, beautiful play. Marlon McCoy, averaging 12 points a game during the year, gets his first bucket this afternoon. And the Tigers are up by 4. Jackson drives. Goaltended.
Now you get pumped up when you get a big jam. You think you're going to go up there and get everything. And he got that one. Unfortunately for Morris, it was on the way down.
Jackson with 6 of the 10 St. Agnes points. They trail by 2.
Look at the Civic Center. Morris on the run, taking a piece from the St. Agnes playbook. Schmidgall feeds it ahead to Kevin Logie, who has the last 6 points for Morris. He got a goaltending call shortly after that, and it's 12 to 10 for the Tigers.
Foul called on Lester Jackson. Boy, the sophomores are putting on a show for the Tigers, aren't they? In one play, all 3 ball handlers, the scorer and the 2 passers, all just sophomores for Morris.
Makes you wonder if we interviewed their 8th grade brothers. The budding dynasty here.
Willie Klein, the only senior in the starting lineup. So we may end up seeing them again next year.
Schmidgall. Logie wasn't looking for the pass, couldn't control it. Now a jump ball call. The Tigers will get it back on the alternate possession. Logie, I think, was starting to look up at the rim as if Schmidgall was going to take the shot.
Ball's in.
Schmidgall. Logie scores. 10 first quarter points for Kevin Logie.
That's the toughest shot in basketball, but he seems to be really feeling it today.
Oh, nice drive. And Lester Jackson trying to answer every one of Logie's baskets with one of his own. Jackson has 8 points. Witt found the open man. Logie fouls it. Agnes missed it. Logie didn't. Logie having the type of half he had against Staples in the region final when he scored 21 in the first half.
Just a great pass from Witt to everybody in the house. Thought it was going to Logie. Zipped it off in the other direction.
Agnes rebounds the miss.
He really has been the key thus far, not turning the ball over, being able to penetrate, really provides openings for others.
Take for 3. The largest lead for either team. Morris leading by 7. Jackson tried to feed it across, stolen by Witt. Numbers aren't with him, so he waits. Tries, and he's blocked and fouled by Shar Davis. The first 4 fouls of the game go against St. Agnes.
Everything going Morris's way so far. I mean, they're playing almost a perfect game. Asmus gets the ball in the low post. Really his territory against a team that matches up that well like St. Agnes, but he got the foul call.
Asmus at the line for the Tigers and for shift 2.
Asmus with 20 points in the tournament. Tigers 0 for 2 from the line.
Jason Asmus provides a lot of good floor play for his team. 10 points, 5 rebounds, his best game against the London Spicer. He also held their good player Jeff Miller to 0 points that night.
An 8-point lead. Asmus comes out. Tate back in for the Tigers. Davis misses a 3-pointer. Long rebound. Knocked out of bounds. The Tigers will get it. Well, the Aggies seem a little rattled showing a great deal of patience on offense.
And that's unlike them. We've seen them really be deliberate and looking for good shots throughout the tournament.
Tigers will go for the last shot. 5 seconds left. Witt drives, left-hander misses. Tipped up. Jeff Boots gets credit for the basket. The first couple minutes controlled by the Aggies, but the Tigers lead it by 10 after the first 8 minutes.
We're back at the Civic Center. You see the last basket, everything going their way. Boots tips it in. Now let's check in with Andy Scoopman.
Okay, Gilly, I'm with Myron Taylor, who is here watching his little brother Juan play for St. Agnes, but he's been here before. He was here last year with Cretin-Durham Hall. You won the championship. What's it like coming back as a spectator and watching your little brother play?
Well, it's fun coming back and watch my little brother play, but, you know, if I would prefer to be playing, you know, instead of watching. But, you know, it's nice coming out here watching my little brother playing in a championship game. It just brings back the memories of when I was playing in a championship game. I just hope they can go out and pull this one out. They're down right now, but hopefully they can come back and pull it out.
Did you give your brother any tournament advice?
I just told him, you know, to come out and play hard and don't ever give up. If you get down, that doesn't mean you're going to lose the game.
Okay, Myron, I wish him luck. I wish him luck.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right, let's go back to the table.
Andy Tate with a rebound and a fast break sprint for a basket. The Tigers on a 22-6 run since the opening minute. Aggies actually led 6-2 after the first 70 seconds. There's a three-pointer. Marlon McCoy with 5 points. Tried to find Logie, slapped away. Jackson. McCoy. Whistle and a foul before the shot.
When the Aggies score, and they haven't scored much lately, they go into a full-court zone press. The turnover didn't come till far on the other end of the court, but it did allow them to at least get some kind of transition going.
Jimmy, you were mentioning during the first period break that that's about as flawless a quarter of basketball as anybody can play.
Yeah, they were getting the tips. The passes were all crisp, right on the money. They made just the extra pass they had to make to get the wide open shot. They played strong defense.
Tigers have already had a couple of 10-0 runs in this game, and we still have 6:45 left in the second quarter. McCoy resets, misfires.
McCoy should make Witt pay when he goes up in the air like that and drive right to the basket right by him.
The glass no good for Boots. Rebound finally comes down to McCoy. Aggies look to run. Jackson foul. Big pile up, and the foul will come against Zach Witt.
Take a look again. You got to like Logie's ability to get up and down the floor. He's waiting at the end of this, and the foul came before that, with quarterback Zach Witt bumping into Lester Jackson.
On the Banville scoreboard, the Tigers lead by 9.
That's a view from the GMC Vikingland cam. A lot of faces in the place this afternoon. Good crowd for the Class A final.
I think we might have our first session of over 10,000 people.
Yeah, we didn't quite make it last night, 9,700.
The Aggies down by 9. They have the basketball. McCoy looking inside. Phipps over Logie, hits. Jermaine Phipps with his first basket.
Good shooting solves a lot of problems. That time Morris did what they wanted to do on defense. Maybe took a tough shot over the extended arms. Made it clean.
Schmidgall takes it to the hole. Offensive foul. The basket won't count. I don't believe. No basket.
Schmidgall goes in there fearlessly, but picks up the charge. And so those little things that were going well for Morris in the first quarter turn against them somewhat here in the first 2 minutes of the second quarter. And St. Agnes gaining a little momentum now as they close that big lead down to 7 and have a chance to get it tighter.
Looking along the Morris bench as a drive rolls off. Follow-up shot good for Kamani Lloyd. He's got 4 points. Now a steal. Jackson will not get the basket. Foul before the shot. A steal nonetheless, and the second foul now on Zach Witt.
To be important, we also touched on it from time to time throughout the tournament, what a streaky team Morris has been through the year.
Yes.
They can be really hot when they're going well, and then things fall apart and they can't unsolve it, or solve the mystery as to why.
Mark Targerson calls a timeout with 5:39 left in the half. The Aggies coming back. They're down by just 5.
That is a Morris Tiger.
Yes, it is.
Fearsome looking, rooting, whistling, trying to bring her team home.
Tipped off, no good. Finally, the rebound pulled down by Jason Agnes. The Aggies on a 7-0 run. Another Tiger turnover. Jackson.
Oh, they can come back quickly.
11 first-half points for Jackson. And just like that, it's a 2-point game, a 10-point run for St. Agnes.
We've talked about the defensive pressure, and that's what's given them the opportunities. Lester Jackson with a big 3-pointer.
The first 4 fouls of the game, one against St. Agnes, the next 5 against Morris. Now another steal. For a Aggie lead. Now a tying basket is good. Shar Davis. And the Aggies have come from a 12-point deficit to tie it up. Another Tiger turnover. 5 straight turnovers for the Morris Tigers.
Well, this was just as good as a pass when things are going one team's way. It's hard to turn it around, and then for some unknown reason, that was a shot. Dropped right into the hands of Davis, and he converted.
Phipps misses, and the rebound comes down to Witt.
Morris has had a couple lapses. They are playing man-to-man defense, but they have not always been responsible for checking out and guarding the person.
Drives, misses, rebounded by Phipps. Up ahead to Davis. Stops, goes, and scores. 14 straight for St. Agnes. Tate feeds Logie. Double team. Oh, off the corner of the glass. He ties it up.
Well, they needed something, and they got a little lucky. But we have a great game going here.
We sure do.
Halfway through the second quarter. A miss by McCoy. Logie on the run. Foul by Jackson. And Jackson does a little trash talking.
Now we've seen a little too much of that in this tournament for, I think, most everyone's taste. But hey, if you're 6'1" and you go up and block a guy 6'8", feeling a little frisky at that point. Don't give them anything easy you can't in the championship game. And a Logie dunk there would have given a lot of momentum to the Morris crowd and their people.
Second foul on Jackson, so he may have to sit for a while here in period number 2.
We sure have been impressed with this young man. Just the sophomore, shows such good skills. His goal is to play for a Division I school. He even has mentioned the Minnesota Gophers as a possibility, and I'm sure he'd have to continue to work real hard. But Morris area is very fortunate to have him to build an offense around.
He does run the floor well, and his ability to run led to a foul and a couple of free throws. He hits them both to put the Tigers back in front. 3:45 left in a very entertaining first half. Inside they go. Lloyd. Foul. And the first foul against Kevin Logie.
Logie is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and he roamed over and just spiked that shot away. And when you're not in foul trouble, it's easy to do that. It's a lot easier to play more confidently. You see the block on top. Oh, pulled somewhere in the body.
Lloyd with that spread eagle free throw stance has 5 points. That's the first free throw of the game for St. Agnes. Even up at 28. Ball handling move. Slams on the brakes. Witt for three. Short. Rebound out to McCoy. Head up, running down the floor. Taylor drives. Some foul, no basket.
Whew. What a game. I mean, the officials are doing a good job. There are a lot of collisions, and they're close calls, boy.
Witt was there.
Bender coming over. He's going up.
Well, we've had a call on each end of the floor in the first half like that. Almost stolen away by Davis. Rolls off his hands out of bounds. Mark Torgerson would be quite happy just to survive this first half and try to get his team settled down a little bit at halftime. They have not handled this pressure well at all in the second quarter.
Well, I think Morris has also been rushing once they do break the press.
Not a backcourt call because the pass was tipped.
Zach Witt has not really gotten himself going offensively yet either.
Logie is having a whale of a first half. 18 points for Kevin Logie. Right down to Taylor.
Gonna be Logie again.
That'll be the second foul on Logie.
Now Boots is going to come in and give him a rest. They'll want to keep him limber for that second half.
Well, he played 12 minutes without a foul and now has picked up 2 late in the second quarter.
Such an advantage to have a guy like that who's finishing well on the end when you're breaking that ball up quickly.
Taylor misses. A 1-point lead for Morris. Mid-golf double team. Witt finds Tate for 3. Rebounded by Asmus, but he stepped on the baseline.
This is an important 2:22 here for Morris because without Logie in there, St. Agnes gets one of their runs as they've had for most of the second quarter. Morris might find themselves more than a handful of points behind real quickly.
Key player, maybe number 50, Boots. Working it inside, Phipps misses, tipped up, no good. Rebound pulled down by Schmidgall, played a fine first half. Back to Witt. Witt has not scored a point in this first half, averaging over 14 a game. Clearly the focus for Morris has been to get Kevin Logie the ball, but now that focus has changed. They'll need to get some scoring from Witt or from Agnes.
You know, Witt himself doesn't need to score if he can create opportunities for others like he just did on that play. They've got to respect his offensive ability.
Tigers by 3.
Ask him how long he's been playing basketball. He says, since I could pick it up.
A lot of people in this tournament like that. Taylor drives and gets the roll. 3 for 1, Taylor, and it's a 1-point game with 1:10 left in the half. Asmus, too hard off the glass, rebounded by Taylor. Aggies with a 2-on-1. Davis scoops it in. And the Aggies are in front by a point. They're playing this first half like it's the second half. Witt, another nice ball handling move. Boots misses. Rebounded by Taylor. Smallest man on the floor. Tigers really miss Kevin Logie. From the line. No good by Lloyd. Follow-up shot on the left. Jermaine Phipps try to shoot the Aggies into a 4-point lead. Kevin Logie will come back into the game with 15.7 seconds left in the half.
Well, he's been a stopper on both ends with a few blocks and some good work. He's big enough to take that one step in and get right next to the board and put it in, is what you need sometimes against St. Agnes' quickness. Get to thinking about that shot too much, they'll come and get it.
Oh, a delay as official Mike Cannon, a little chat with the scorers table for some reason.
They put some extra time on the clock. It was at 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
To me, Phipps really is a quiet player, not flashy, but he works so hard on both ends. That was such a tough basket to have been able to put in. 3-point play.
And a 4-point lead for the Aggies. Schmidt-Gall back to Witt. Who will take the last shot? It'll be Witt for 3. No good. The Morris Tigers led by as many as 12 points, but at halftime, the Aggies of St. Agnes in their first state tournament ever are up by 4 points. Let's go to Andy Skugman.
Okay, Dick, I'm with Mark Torgerson, head coach of Morris, and coach, you down by 4. Your thoughts on the first half?
Well, we were doing just fine, and then they got us out of our tempo. We have to run half-court offense a little more and get the ball to Kevin, and you have to give them credit. Their quickness really did us in for a while. We'll regroup at halftime. Our guards can handle the pressure. They didn't do a real good job in the second quarter, but they'll come back strong, and Zach will take over here. We'll be all right.
Okay, Coach, good luck.
Thanks.
All right, let's go to the other side, and Jeff Grayson. JG?
All right, thank you. I'm with St. Agnes Coach Dick Gazzoni. Coach, at one point you were down 9. You go in, up by 4.
Well, it's character of this team. We can score them in a hurry, and we're awfully tough to shut down because we've got so many kids that can do so many things so well, and we were trying to find what was going to work for us offensively, and then we just decided to solo for Phipps inside and have him get more involved, and he got us back in the game a little bit there, and you know, it's anybody's ball game, obviously.
What do you tell them at halftime?
Well, not to let them get on a spurt like they did, and we just got to make sure that we do a better job defensively, because in the first quarter there especially, we didn't do a very good job defensively, and we made an adjustment on the big kid that helped out a little bit, so we just got to make sure we stay a little bit more consistent on the defensive end.
All right, Dick, thank you. We'll let you get to the locker room. That's St. Agnes Coach Dick Gazzoni. Now we go to midcourt and Dick Bramer. Dick?
Thanks, Jeff. Well, it was a fun first half here in the Class A championship game on the Lincoln Mercury Dealer halftime scoreboard. St. Agnes is leading by 4.
Getting ready for the second half. St. Agnes leading by 4. We've got some highlights to show you from the first 16 minutes of play, and it was really a game divided into quarters. Morris had it their way in the first quarter, 22-12. Nice feed there from Zach Witt to Asmus for 2 points. They were penetrating and getting some easy shots. And then on the other end, St. Agnes had the 24-10 run in the second quarter. And Chard Davis with a sweet move and scoop shot for a bucket. Statistically, we have not a lot to choose from shooting percentage. That looks pretty close, about as close as you can get. Turnovers, a few more for Morris, and that caused by St. Agnes's pressure, and that's probably why we've got a lead for the Aggies. Less turnovers and a better second quarter. We'll return with second half action to the 1994 Minnesota State High School Boys Basketball Tournament. The capital of Minnesota and the capital of basketball on this day. The Civic Center, the site. Come on inside with us for the final 16 minutes. Yep, and we love you. That's the political thing to say.
Yeah. Tigers down by 4, start the second half with the basketball. Inbounded to Witt. He did not score in the first half. Averaged over 14 points a game in the regular season. 3-point try. Schmidt-Gall misses. Logie with the rebound. Tipped up by Schmidt-Gall, no good. And finally rebounded by Juan Taylor. 3 close-in tries for the Tigers, and they couldn't get one to drop. Phipps got Logie in the air. We'll see how aggressively they go at Logie early on. Baseline drive in the basket. points.
Here's the critical part of the game, as Coach Torgerson said. We've got to take better care of the basketball.
Good catch across the timeline by Agnes.
Now that they've broken the pressure, this is where it becomes important for Morris to get their offense established. We heard Coach Torgerson talk about half-court game and looking inside for Logie. That pressure's really kind of made them rush their offense quite a bit.
Witt. A little room to step up and shoot, and he took it from 25 feet and was very short.
He has not scored yet today, and that's not the kind of shot that's probably going to get you back on track.
Yeah, we've seen him play a well-rounded game, but he hasn't really shown that long-range jumper. Everything else, but not that. And maybe that wasn't his best way for him to get back in the game.
Phipps. And it's an 8-point Aggie lead.
That's the kind of shot he had to take. He had to back away and shoot a high arc to get it over Logie. He dropped it cleanly.
Asmus misses. Rebound by Phipps. Morris at one point led by 12, 24 to 12. They've been outscored 28 to 8 since then. Loose ball picked up by Juan Taylor. Three-pointer in the corner. Of the half go to the Aggies. They were down 12, now they're up 11 on the Menard scoreboard. Dick Gazzoni
doesn't look like he's relaxing a lot. He's high-strung when it comes to getting into the game, and Mark Torgerson, I'm sure that's not what they talked about at halftime. They wanted to get off and play the third quarter the way they did the first.
Ball steps up for a three. That hits. 7 points for Corey Schmidtgall. It's back to an 8-point lead for the Aggies. Phipps posts up on Logie. Over Logie. He misses. Got the rebound and scores. Jermaine Phipps with 9 points.
Phipps going after the ball hard, and it was Logie who had the hand up and was protecting the first shot, but did not box out on Phipps. So really just the mental lapse by Logie to let Phipps walk right back in there and get the board and possible three-point play.
You got to be impressed with Phipps' creativity down there, too. He came with a little soft left-hand move that time. The fadeaway jumper that he's used to get over Logie, and very persistent player.
Big offensive rebound, no good by Lloyd. Now Jackson is fouled, and the foul is called against Kevin Logie. That's his third. I beg your pardon, the foul is on Schmidtgall. It's his second.
Number 34, Corey Schmidtgall.
Take a look again. It's just all over the board. And Schmidtgall grabbing a hold of Jackson's arm there as he headed up.
Jackson at the line for the first time. It is Corey Schmidtgall's third personal foul. Jackson with 2 made free throws, and it's a 12-point lead for St. Agnes. A steal by Taylor. Feeds the corner. McCoy.
I don't think either Washburn or Hopkins will want to see these guys today.
Boy. Jump ball. It'll go to the Aggies.
They're playing well.
Really well. There is Marlon McCoy from the corner.
McCoy with 3 3-pointers, 2 of them in the second half already.
He has shot better today than we've seen him shoot in the tournament too.
Long rebound from Lloyd's miss, picked up by Zach Witt. Witt drives, 10-footer, no good. Rebound controlled by McCoy. And now he's bumped and fouled by Jeff Booth. Boots, who injured himself in the first quarter. Noticed a couple of times in going to the bench, he was clutching his right shoulder area, and we're told that he strained a chest muscle. So he is not 100%. It's his first foul. Jackson, score!
So quick to the board. Logie thought he was in one spot, and boom, he was in there right up against the glass.
Well, Phipps was the one that said it's a good pick to allow him to get open. St. Agnes looking really tough. Morris has time. They've got to try to get something established on the offensive end. Have not been able to do that at all in this third quarter.
They're trying to go with a bigger lineup. For one of the few times in this tournament, they've got both Boots and Logie in the lineup. Boots is in there because Schmidtgall has 3 fouls. Now I look out on the floor, Schmidtgall's still on the floor. So Torgerson is trying to go with a bigger lineup. Phipps hits again. He's got 6 in the second half, 11 in the game. Witt has it slapped away, picked up by Tate. And Witt finally gets on the board with a 3. Push called on Tate. That's the 4th foul on the Tigers in the half. 2nd foul on Tate. And one thing to keep in mind, and the one hope that Morris may have in getting back into this game as they're down by 16. The Aggies have not shot free throws well in this tournament. Coming into the game, they were 27 of 53 from the free throw line. That's just over 50%. Witt tried for the steal. He tipped it free to Tate. At midcourt, picked up by Lloyd.
Well, Morris is used to winning those loose balls, but they're not getting them today. They are really getting out-scrapped.
Phipps rolled into the lane, and the pass came all the way through to Boots. Witt leads. He's blocked, and he's fouled. Foul called on Kamani Lloyd.
This was a smart play by Zach Witt. He's left-handed. He's so strong in that left side. Goes to the basket, little double pump, draws the foul. I think Morris still is going to make a run here in this game. Witt hits these free throws. They're down 14. And that's really not a lot when you think about 3:24 to go, third quarter. They still have the entire fourth period as well. Morris is used to leading, though. Obviously being unbeaten, they've had a lot of teams make runs on them throughout the year, but they're going to have to be the one that rallies themselves.
A timeout called since very early in the second quarter when Morris was ahead 24-12. St. Agnes has outscored them 42-14.
St. Agnes, well, they can toot their own horn right now if they want, because they've just really played great basketball for the better part of 2 quarters here, dominating in every aspect. They come from, what was it, 12 down to an 18-point lead at one point.
A 42-14 run. That's incredible.
It really
foul
is.
Called on Juan Taylor. Second foul on Taylor. Jason Agnes. 1 of 2 from the line. Every free throw at this point is critical for Morris. They can't afford to have too many more roll out of there like that. Points for Asmus. 3:20 left in the third quarter. It's been an 18-7 quarter for the Aggies. Phipps drives on Logie. No basket, no foul. Rebounded by Witt. Witt left with a wide open lane. They're going to need him to have a whale of a second half to get back in this game. They're down by 13.
Oh, but if he does, this game could change in a hurry.
Slapped away by Tate. He leaned over Jackson. But the ball came, and the basket scored by Marlon McCoy.
And I almost scouts wonder if Morris shouldn't consider a defensive change, because they've been trying to play man all day long. It really has been difficult for them to match up one-on-one with them, and I know they probably don't want to appear to be more passive and going to a zone, but maybe some kind of switching might help.
Yeah, they can't let him get in the lane like that. They're just destroying him inside. McCoy, a chance to complete the three-point play. 3 fouls on Witt.
Free throw rolls off to Agnes.
They just do a great team rebounding job, St. Agnes. They're all, I mean, it's not like you can screen out one player and say, hey, we can control the boards if we hold Phipps out or if we hold Jackson out.
Clyde has his shot stuffed by Taylor. Gets it back. Schmidgall misses. Klein has not scored in this game, and he averaged 9 a game during the year. What a drive, but a miss by Taylor. Follow-up shot, no good by Lloyd. Another follow-up by Phipps is good. There's Logie. He gets his first bucket of the second half, 20 in the game. Less than 2 minutes to play in the third.
I mean, St. Agnes wouldn't mind trading 4 layups for 1 dunk.
That's right.
Traveling call on Phipps. And that is only the 5th turnover for St. Agnes in the game. Janet, I think you mentioned in the open, they've done a very good job keeping control of the basketball in their 2 prior games.
Well, if you take that good care of the basketball, and as Gilly mentioned, have everybody going to the boards hard, it's difficult for anybody to beat you. Schmidgall coming up with a big basket. Again, Morris within 12.
His second three-pointer of the quarter. A minute and a half left in the third quarter. Jackson drives, misses. Phipps follows up, no good, but he's fouled. And the foul, I believe, is against Schmidgall.
Morris is getting themselves in such a bind because of what we just mentioned, and that is they're not stopping ball penetration. If you've got people walking right into the lane, bringing the basketball in there, that's when you're in trouble. People have to leave their man to help out. You've got fouls being committed as a result of the poor defense. And that's just a basic rule of basketball.
Schmidgall picking up his 4th foul. Phipps at the line.
Schmidgall is the second best rebounder on the team. He's the one helping Logie, and they're just getting destroyed inside, as you say, Janet. They can't let him get in there that close.
2 misses.
To make a game of it.
And the Aggies have missed their last 3 free throws. Tate. Logie can't handle the pass. He saves it in the corner. Now the pass batted away. Going to the deck, picking it up is McCoy. Phipps swatted away, but a foul. Up ahead for Witt. 2-on-2 break, and a foul called on Taylor. Witt almost got caught on a behind-the-back dribble, but Taylor was called for the foul.
That was a big-time block by Schmidgall.
Well, I don't think Schmidgall's going to be in this game very much longer. I don't mean that critically, but he hasn't slowed down at all, and he's trying to show that he's going to compete and contest those shots. And the way St. Agnes keeps coming in waves, one of them's going to result in a foul. He's got 4 fouls, and I don't think they can afford to lose him.
Logie off the glass scores. 22 for Logie. Got a shot of the bench there. Schmidgall sitting down, and next to him, Jeff Boots clutching his chest. With the pulled chest muscle, his availability questionable for the 4th quarter. Cutting in the lane, Jackson scores. Got a good feed from Davis. A 12-point game, and the Tigers down by 12. Will try to set up for the final shot of the quarter. Set up for a 3, pulled the trigger, and the shot may have been partially blocked. It goes out of bounds. time for this team.
Well, unless Morris can start doing a better job on defense in the fourth quarter, they can score all they want on offense. The results of the game are not going to be different than what you're seeing right now.
The Aggies led by 4 at the half. They expanded the lead to 12 as we get set for the fourth quarter of the Class A championship game.
Along with a very nervous Holly Witt, whose son Zach is playing for Morris area, but you're also the executive director of the Morris Area Chamber of Commerce. And I have to tell you, your community is one of the furthest away from St. Paul, yet your crowds are one of the biggest.
That's right. We've got, I'd say, 3/4 of the community is here today. And we've also Donnelly and Cyrus in our school district. And it's amazing. It's just overwhelming.
What does it mean to a community your size to be in the state tournament?
It's so overwhelming. I can't even explain it. It's like the heart of the community right now. You know, they're representing our community, and we're so proud of what they've done. I mean, they've kind of put us on the map.
And your team's pretty young. If they don't pull it out this year, we hope to see you and Zach back here next year.
There'll be a lot of expectations, but we'll do what we can do. It's been so much fun.
Okay, Holly, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to the table.
The Morris Tigers have not lost yet this year, 29-0. Kevin Logie, 18 first half points. Gets 2 friendly bounces from the rim, and it's a 10-point game. Davis, blocked by Logie. Schmidgall got the loose ball. Almost carried by Witt. He had the ball up on the hip. Schmidgall.
This has been a wild game, hasn't it?
Davis looking inside. Phipps. He goes in on Logie and a foul before the shot, and it's on Logie, and that'll be number 4 on him. Excuse me, number 3 on Kevin Logie.
Well, Phipps was going to step right into the basket, and Kevin used his hands that time trying to keep himself in position.
But at this point, Phipps is hurting them a lot more down low than he is from the free throw line.
Well, with their key players now getting in foul trouble, they don't have too many more fouls they can get. Schmidgall 4, Logie 3, Witt 3. Jackson and Taylor have 3 each for St. Agnes.
In the second half, the Aggies had a 20-point lead. It was cut to 7, now 9, now 7. Witt drives, he's got 7 points, all in the second half. McCoy looking inside. Jackson to Taylor. Phipps left open. No good. Schmidgall with the rebound. Witt in the lane. No good. Rebound. Agnes. Block. He's fouled. And they'll go to the line for 2. Foul called on Kamani Lloyd, his 3rd. A timeout called by Dick Gazzoni. 6:15 left in the championship game for Class A with a 7-point Aggie lead.
Class A championship. We have had just a terrific ball game here. Morris in white, St. Agnes in the red. Aggies have it by 7 right now. They're led by as many as 16. Morris had a lead of 10 points in the first quarter, 12. It's just been so much scoring, it's a little bit hard to keep all the totals straight. total entertainment package value very high.
The Tigers are 7 of 10 from the line in this game. And we talked earlier about their superior free throw shooting maybe becoming a factor. Now it's gotten to the point of the game where the free throws very much are a factor with 6:10 left in a 5-point ball game. Phipps drops it down low. Loose ball on the floor. Finally a whistle. Lloyd had his foot out of bounds while he was hanging on to the ball.
Nice hustle by Tate and by Lloyd to come up with it. Unfortunately for him, he was over the line.
Tate and Witt play catch. Now up ahead to Agnes. Witt more aggressive here in the second half. He scores. 9 second-half points for Zach Witt, and it's a 3-point game.
I think they've spread the floor out more, trying to give Zach just a little more room and not let the other guys help as much on defense for St. Agnes.
Jackson over Logie scores. What a game. Witt feeds the corner. Schmidt goal for 3.
Wow.
His 4th three-pointer of the second half.
These guys are playing with a lot of confidence on both sides, boy. Take it right up against the defense. Marvelous play by Jackson on one end, and then Schmidt goal. Fearless.
That's what you'll have to see in the state championship. So many times teams come out and don't play well, and both teams have had some spurts where they haven't played well, but overall it's really wonderful to see the talents of these young men.
Phipps back to Taylor. The Aggies led by 20 in the third quarter. It's down to a 2-point lead. Back up to a 4-point lead. Kamani Lloyd now with 10 points. Dangerous pass. Oh, what a great shot by Schmidtgall. That ball was 3 feet out of bounds. Picked up by Asmus. Witt driving. Scoring.
I've seen a lot of basketball here sitting at this table over the last 15 years or so, but this is as good as any of them.
Logie got a hand on it. Loose ball picked up. Thrown into the backcourt. Picked up by Taylor. Phipps. Over Logie. No good. Loose ball picked up. McCoy scores. Schmidt goal for 3.
He couldn't. He really let that one go quickly.
Yeah, he did.
He just rushed it a little.
Everybody's going to take a deep breath now.
Vic Cazzoni's got 4 fingers up, maybe 4 corners. They're certainly spreading it out, slowing it down a little.
3:15 left. Jackson feeds it back to the wing. Morris outscoring the Aggies 15-8 in this quarter. We've seen the Aggies do this. Take some time off the clock throughout this tournament. But again, this is where their poor free throw shooting hurts them. Tate commits the foul. Jackson will go to the line.
They were trying to orchestrate which man was going to give the foul there because, as we said, their 3 top guns, all with 3 or more. Tate did the job.
High school basketball doesn't get any better than this. 2:55 left in the championship game.
This game's taken a lot of twists and turns, and a great turn here by Corey Schmidtgall, really impressing us with his athleticism, saving that ball in bounds. Logie kind of throws up a bad shot there, but they were able to keep it going, stay after it, and Witt took a driving layup to the basket. He really has stepped forward in the second half, and now Lester Jackson is at the foul line for St. Agnes with some critical free throws.
Jackson's 2 of 2 from the line. He's got a 1-and-1 here. Comes off. Rebound controlled by Logie. Witt tried to feed it to Schmidtgall, but the pass stolen away. 13th Morris turnover. quarter. McCoy bumped by Witt.
4 on Witt.
4th on Witt. McCoy has missed his only free throw of the game.
Foul number 14, Zach Witt, 4th personal foul.
So that's Schmidgall and Witt now with 4.
Shooting 1 and 1.
It's a big make from Marlon McCoy. 11 points in the second half, 16 in the game. Comes off. The rebound controlled finally by Witt. The Aggies' poor free throw shooting continues to bother them. Three-pointer by Witt, no good. Rebounded by Taylor. A 5-point lead for the Aggies. Tigers had it cut to 2. Driving the lane, McCoy dishes off. Phipps scores. 17 points for Phipps, 12 in the second half. 2 points, or 2 minutes left in a 7-point lead. Three-pointer. Andy Tate from 25 feet.
Just a set shot. Nobody knew that one was going to get released. Much less go in.
Slapped away. Jackson will go to the line on Tate's 4th foul.
Now Morris is going to need some more minor miracles here. I think they could look to go inside more. The Logie hasn't really been part of the offense in the second half, and he's still a big advantage if he's got position in there.
Jackson missed a 1-and-1 a moment ago. This time he hits one.
It's almost like they've forgotten about him in the second half. He had a huge first half. He still leads all scorers with 24 points today. And St. Agnes doing a better job from the free throw line.
No. They've waved the free throw off. A lane violation with 1:39 left in the 4th quarter. The Aggies lead by 5.
This leads by 5. Morris has the ball. And they need to count one quickly with only 1:39 to go.
Witt has scored 11 points in the second half. Oh, he finds Asmus all alone. 8 points for Asmus. It's a 3-point game.
Defense for Morris right now is critical.
They didn't foul Taylor. They foul McCoy. He's 1 of 3 from the line.
Klein's in the game. He's got to be the designated fouler in this situation.
He averaged 9 points during the regular year. He's not scored this afternoon.
Klein is a transfer from Chicago, Alberta.
Short, very short. Rebound through the hands of Witt into the hands of Phipps. Tipped at midcourt.
That's exactly what St. Agnes seems to always do. Dick Gazzoni says, we don't do it on purpose. We don't miss our free throws and then get the rebound on purpose, but it almost seems to work to their advantage in these closing seconds of games.
The free throw was so far off target, Witt didn't have a chance to get his hands up for the rebound. Now the foul called on Asmus.
Klein goes out, Schmidgall in for the expected offensive sequence. You can never be too sure in this game.
That's what we've talked about in previous games, of how the free throws have been badly missed, and that's why the rebounds don't come off typical places.
The bonus shot.
McCoy gets them both, pushing the lead back to 5. Schmidgall fakes a three-pointer. Trying to get it back to Witt, but he was double-teamed and the pass never got there. Picked up by Taylor. Schmidgall can't foul anybody because he's got 4. Neither can Witt.
Well, somebody's got to commit a foul here to get the clock stopped.
early turnover, no foul. A lot of valuable time lost for Morris Tigers.
32.7 seconds left. And the Morris Tigers need 7 points in a hurry.
Unbeaten season, very much at risk here now for Morris area.
St. Agnes has lost 5 games during the season. A 1-point loss to Minneapolis North mid-season, one of their many AA opponents during the season. Really, according to Dick Pizzoni, was a turning point for their team in their season. And I think probably either of these teams would fare well against AA competition.
We may have a tremendous game in the AA championship tonight, but this is a very tough act to follow. This has been so much fun to be a part of. Morris Tigers had a 12-point lead early in the second quarter. And then St. Agnes went off on a 42-14 spurt. They were down 20, but then the Tigers came back, got within 2, and right now it's a 7-point lead. Tate in the corner. 35-footer partially blocked by McCoy. Witt follows and scores. 20 seconds left. Quick foul. And going to the line will be McCoy, where it was McCoy who just made 2 free throws a moment ago.
St. Agnes not conceding anything. I mean, they tried to throw up that long three-pointer, and it got blocked from 35 feet, as you said, Dick. They're just not getting enough time to set up, get their legs under them. But to their credit, they have played very well in spite of the defensive pressure of St. Agnes.
A miss. Rebounded by Schmidtdahl. Tate works the sideline. Three-pointer block. Logan misses a shot as he was falling out of bounds, and another foul with 9 seconds left. Tigers have just not executed their offense well in the final 2 minutes.
Well, they've started to realize now that St. Agnes is going to be your Class A state champion. And some of the Morris players hanging their heads, and the Aggies, as you would expect, starting to get that feeling.
Tate fouls out with 8 points.
It took an unbelievable effort for Morris to be able to rally and come back, considering the tremendous run of St. Agnes.
Well, everybody involved who's seen Morris play this year has said that they have been a team this year that has managed to squander away some early leads. The difference in this game may have been the talent of the team they were playing, because they reached that lull, and against this very talented Aggie team, they found themselves in a hole so quickly, such a deep hole, they weren't able to quite get out of it, although they cut a 20-point deficit to 2.
They play a very aggressive style, kind of a gambling style even on defense, and when you're not getting steals, you're conceding layups. And St. Agnes got far too many of those tonight.
Phipps with 14 in the second half. Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll go to Morris with 7.4 left.
A lot of emotions out here for both sides, both coaches. Well-played state championship basketball game.
Mark Dolan off the bench misses. Rebounded by Phipps. In their first thing to another, the Aggies win it all.
Scenes that need no words.
Jeff. All right, I'm with Dick Gazzone. Dick, St. Agnes state champions, congratulations. What are your thoughts?
Well, our kids just played so well, you know, all through the last couple months. You know, if you knew what was going on through the whole course of the last 14 or 15 years and what's been happening as far as different things throughout the season, I guess you'd be able to understand what we're going through here as far as our happiness goes. And I'm just so proud of the kids, the way they played and handled themselves, especially the last couple weeks in the playoffs and then through the state tournament. They've just come up with some clutch plays, defensively, offensively, hitting free throws, just handling the ball in pressure situations. That it's a credit to them and all the alumni that have played with us, at least since I've been here and even in years past when Don Hoffman and Joe Plan were coaches. It's just great for the school and everybody involved.
Congratulations to you and everybody at St. Agnes, Dick Gazzone. Congratulations. And now back to our announcers at the table.
Okay, a lot of these kids have played together since 4th grade, and now they're tops in the state. Maybe the pollsters know something after all. Aggies were ranked #1 at the start of the year, and here at the end of the year, they are indeed #1. Let's go to the floor in the trophy presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed with the award ceremony for this game. The ceremony will be conducted by Connie Kanoki of Stillwater, Rich Lorenz of New Richland Heartland, Don Hanson of Long Prairie, Roger Lakari of Mesabi East, Don Carlson of Walker Hackensack, all members of the Minnesota State High School League Board of Directors. We will begin by recognizing the presentation of the silver medals and the Class A second place trophy to Morris Area High School. First, the presentation of the medals. Mark Dolan. Andy Tate. Zach Witt. Jeff Klein. Lance Stoik. Ryan Nelson. John Heebner. Corey Schmidgall. Jason Asmus. John Anderson. Kevin Logie. Jeff Boots. Student manager Ryan Slater. And student manager Ted Matthews. And now would the captains please come forward to receive the Class A second place trophy. And how about a nice hand for Morris Area High School on an outstanding season. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would like to announce the winners of the Sportsmanship Award. The Minnesota State High School League, with the support of First Banks, is pleased to sponsor a Sportsmanship Award for its member schools. This award recognizes and rewards schools, communities that display good sportsmanship while competing in a state championship tournament. The Sportsmanship Committee has selected Morris Area High School for the sportsmanship banner. Would the cheerleaders please come forward? The cheerleaders. The banner will be presented by Shirley Laraway, Retail Bank Manager, First Bank Mankato, and Scott Swenson, Retail Bank Manager, First Bank Owatonna. At this time, we would like to present to you the First Bank All-Tournament team. The 10 students named to the First Bank All-Tournament team have distinguished themselves during the Boys State Basketball Tournament by their athletic excellence, leadership, team commitment, and exceptional sportsmanship. Recipients of the award were elected by the vote of sports writers and sportscasters covering the Boys State Basketball Tournament. The All-Tournament team ballots included the names of all students competing in the tournament. Presenting the trophies for the First Bank All-Tournament Award at center court are Shirley Laraway, Retail Bank Manager, First Bank Mankato, and Scott Swenson, Retail Bank Manager, First Bank Owatonna. And now, the 1994 Class A Boys Basketball All-Tournament team. Guard, Big Forks, Jeremy Cole. Westbrook Walnut Grove guard, Jeff DeBates. From New London Spicer, forward Jeff Miller. From Maple River, center Mark Lancaster. At guard from Bethlehem Academy, J.J. Corman. Forward from Bethlehem Academy, Jim Lovren. Guard from Morris area, Zach Witt. Center, Morris area, Kevin Logie. St. Agnes, Lester Jackson. Guard, St. Agnes, Marlon McCoy. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1994 First Bank All-Tournament team. And please join First Bank and the league in congratulating these athletes and all of the students who participated in this year's State Boys Basketball Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1994 Minnesota State High School Class A Boys Basketball.
Justin White scored here, and it became a seesaw in the final minutes. Hopkins held a 1-point lead when Boone missed the back end of a 2-shot free throw. Byron Suttles eventually came up with, and the 5'10" guard loomed big in the land of the Giants, the basket. The game winner, 66-65. Washburn wins the title over Hopkins. Big game. In the Class A title tilt, St. Agnes and Morris rode a roller coaster. Morris led by 12 first quarter points from Kevin Logie, took a 24-12 lead. St. Agnes, though, goes on to outscore the Tigers 42-11, then had to hold off a late comeback. Marlon McCoy converted. He had 18 points. The Aggies win a wild one, 78-71. And wild one indeed. It was a classic, back and forth. And the senior-dominated Aggies again, the underclass-oriented Morris team. High-octane offenses, a lot of emotion. Joel Mathiasen now takes us on the sights and sounds journey of that tournament.
Here gets his first bucket this afternoon.
we knew we had to come out and play our game, and that's exactly what we did. When we can play like that, we can beat anybody there is.
We're down 24-12.
Our coaches told us to keep our composure, and things are falling to sync.
That we were the best in 3rd grade and all through 8th grade, so when we continue to high school, we just want, that's our goal, to make it to the state championship and win it.